Hello, Bomberos community. Today we're meeting with Joseph Troncoso, the founder and director of Bomberos Latinos. Joseph, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, it's truly a pleasure to be here with you, Martin.
So Joe, I think you know I like to hear stories. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Boaters List?
Well, it's kind of an interesting story. So I was doing an international academy down in Cabo San Lucas last year. And once the academy was wrapping up, my wife was flying down to meet me for a vacation. So when she arrived, she told me, "Hey, I had the greatest trip." She goes, "I got bumped up to first class." And I started talking with the gentleman next to me. And he seemed very interested. I told him about your program. He seemed very interested, and he said he'd love to get together with us and talk more about it. And so, much to my delight, you called me.
That's right. That's right. I'll tell you, when she explained to me what you were doing, I was fascinated. And I really thought there was a really good tie-in for Boaters List, our community, and particularly what we do here in Cabo San Lucas. But what I've come to learn is it's so much more than just Cabo San Lucas.
So we started a concept of the International Academy. So my thought was when we first started doing the training, we were doing the training up in the United States. But a lot of the students from Latin America who wanted to come to our trainings, they weren't able to come because of the obstacle of requiring a visa. So we came up with the concept of doing the International Academy and holding it in Mexico or other Latin American countries to remove that obstacle. So this class that we just finished doing was one of the International Academies. We had the students from several different countries and all over the Mexican Republic that came to it. Our topic this year was firefighter survival, which is a very important topic because firefighting is a very dangerous occupation. And you really need to understand all the dangers involved and have strategies and tactics to be able to improve your odds to be able to survive those. So the topics we covered this week were air management, Mayday, rapid intervention teams, VEIS, which is vent, enter, isolate, and search. And lastly, bailout bags, firefighter survival bailout bags. So we had a very successful week and just wrapped it up and able to enjoy a couple of days before going back home.
So this was similar to the first visit that you made down here where I met you guys, doing the training with the fire department. Similar, but different topics. Is that
Yes,
correct?
last year the topics that we did were high-rise firefighting, which as the municipalities in Mexico and throughout Latin America are now growing vertically, that's a very important topic for them.
From the beginning, I was fascinated with what all you do. More or less, how many people do you have when you do these trainings? Does it vary, or is it a consistent number?
So what we did is one of the big things that we're very proud of during our time that we've been doing this is we wanted to start developing trainers internationally, not just students. So the trainers that we have at this point 7 different trainers based out of Mexico. These were people who really stood out when they were coming through our training as students, and then they were asked to join our staff now. So this training, we had 7 instructors and we had 43 students.
That's awesome. So really, you're creating a compounding effect because you come and train people to train additional firefighters. So let me back up just for a moment. Being fascinated with the organization, how did you get involved, and how long have you been doing it? And yeah, just tell us a little bit more about Bomberos Latinos.
Okay, well, we got our start clear back in 1999. And the way we actually got started is I grew up the son of a Spanish professor who made us speak only Spanish in the home. So the fire chief up in Portland, which was the department I worked for, he asked me to accompany him to Mexico as a translator to go down and donate a fire engine. On that trip, I observed the conditions that the firefighters were working with and the lack of equipment they had. And so on the plane ride home, I'm literally writing on a napkin different concepts I could have. How could we help improve the life of my brother and sister firefighters in Mexico? And so I was looking, I'm like, okay, we could donate them our old equipment. You know, we can start doing training, bring them up to date on their training. So I remember I showed that to my chief and he said, I love it. Make it happen. I'm like, well, how on earth would I make it happen? You know, I'm just an, a base firefighter at the time. And
I
he
just
said,
had great ideas, right?
yeah, and he said, you know what?
Have a job.
He said, Joe, I think that this could be life changing, and I'll give you any support you need. So tell me what you need. So I started this back in '99, like I said, literally on the back of a napkin, the concept for it. And so then I started going out and I started traveling. And so one of the first things I had to do was I went to the department we were going to be working with. I need to see what they had equipment wise. I need to see what they had resource wise, because you can't just translate the language and expect it to work. There are huge differences in what they have equipment wise, resource wise, which is both human resources and, of course, equipment resources. There are differences also in the infrastructure. For instance, in the United States, I have unlimited water at every fire. I have hydrants on every corner. And I was used to, that was never a worry of mine. Down here, there are almost no hydrants, and that's universal throughout all Latin America. So they have to bring your initial water that you carry on your initial apparatus, and then you have to follow that up with bringing in tanker trucks, which are now bringing your water to you because of the lack of hydrants. Another difference is the construction type. Obviously, we live in predominantly wood frame houses in the United States with a pitched roof where I can ventilate vertically. You can't do that down here. So, like I said, we had to take all those things into account when we started developing training for them so that it would be relevant.
So effectively, you found a whole new set of challenges in firefighting and rescue that don't exist in the United States. Firefighters might take these things for a norm, and down here they simply don't exist. So you had to create programs or solutions around those those challenges.
Yes, that's
Right.
correct.
That's fascinating. I'd ask you, what can Boaters List, what can our community do for you? And you said, well, obviously a donation would always help, and we arranged a donation through one of our good friends, Jill Adams and the Teresa Jill Adams Foundation. So tell me a little bit more about how that donation impacted your organization.
Okay. Well, like I said, Bomberos Latinos has always worked on two fronts: getting donations, donating equipment to be able to do it, coupled with the training, and they need to go hand in hand. For instance, I've always given the people the analogy: you could give me the best piano in the world. It's going to sit there and not do anything. I don't know how to play the piano. Conversely, you can have the best pianist in the world, but without an instrument, they're not able to do what they need to do. So the two things need to go hand in hand. So last year, we received a generous donation of 21 AEDs or defibrillators to be able to do cardiac emergencies and be able to save somebody. CPR is a very, very important thing. I've been an instructor of CPR for over 20 years. But what really saves lives is being able to shock the heart back into a perfusing, pumping rhythm. And so that's very important. We received these. Now, these defibrillators are typically running around $3,000 a piece. They gave us 21 of them. The bad thing was they needed batteries, and the batteries are very expensive. And so when we received this donation from the Jill Adams Foundation and Boaters List, we were able to acquire the batteries for all of those devices off that donation that they made. Three of those are here in Cabo. One of them is going to be assigned to the fireboat. So very exciting for us to be able to have those here in service as well. In another department that received one of those defibrillators with one of the batteries, the very first night it arrived in Mexico, they saved a man's life with it.
That's amazing. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. So when we discussed the donation and what we were able to do through the foundation, I did a little head count. I said, all right, well, that's going to get you at $400 per battery. It's going to get you about maybe 11 or 12 units. But I understand it was a whole lot more than that, right?
Yes, I was able to seek out discounted sales on them. So I was actually able to equip all 21 of those defibrillators with a brand new battery, and the batteries last 5 years. I was able to equip all 21 of those with that donation that would typically have purchased 12 batteries.
So you almost doubled it by,
Yes.
by being creative. So truly, you're stretching the dollar, right?
Yes.
Well,
One of the unique things about Bomberos Latinos is I always did this as a labor of love. My father is a Mexican descent, and so it was always done for me that I never wanted to get anything out of it personally. So every single cent that comes into Bomberos Latinos, every single cent goes to equipment donation and the transportation of the same and providing training. There's no overhead. We don't have a brick and mortar building. We aren't paying for accountants. We aren't paying for lawyers. We aren't paying for a manager. Zero goes to in the pocket of anybody.
Administration. So you
Yep,
have a
zero
zero
goes
administrator,
to it.
which is
True.
very, very unique for charitable foundations. I work with a lot of them, and I always look at the cost, overhead, and the structure, and advertising, and administrative costs, and it's generally a lot. So 100% of whatever is donated to the Bomberos Latinos goes right towards equipment. And it sounds like to me, on top of that, you take that money and stretch it out
Yeah.
and negotiate for more equipment, negotiate for free donations from fire departments. I think it's absolutely incredible. What a wonderful job you guys are doing.
Yeah, thank you. It's been when I said that nobody benefits financially, that's true, but the wealth of experience I've gotten to have, I've now we just finished the class we did this year here in March was our international training class number 101
Wow.
that we've done now, and we've done this throughout 15 different countries.
Wow, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. What a contribution you're making.
I
I
learned
was that from you that firefighters here, a lot of them, especially in the rural areas, don't have training. They just basically, I guess they get a fire hose or a garden hose or whatever they need to fight, but there's not a formal training process for a lot of them. Is that correct?
yeah, it's in different parts. It's improved. Cabo San Lucas is definitely on the forefront of training and trying to get national standards for firefighters, thanks to the work of Jefe Carvajal, the chief, and Ruben Nordada, is the captain in charge of training here. They're on the forefront of it. And so they've been very, very great to work with over the years because, like I said, they're also wanting to do what we also want to improve the training and the quality thereof for their countrymen.
But so when you make a training like the one you just did recently here in Cabo San Lucas, how many communities were involved? Because it's not just Cabo; it's not isolated. This
No,
area, right?
we had firefighters from 8 Mexican states present. And of those 8 states, I think we probably had 16 different cities, as well as international students from other countries.
Wow. Well, it's a huge reach.
Yeah.
And again, like we mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, a lot of these people are getting trained to become trainers so they can pass on the knowledge that you're teaching them.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
outstanding.
that's what it's all about, is, like I said, getting this information out to people, then trying to improve the safety. Like I said, firefighter survival was the topic this week that we did. And so, like I said, we're just trying to give them better odds to be able to return home to their families.
Well, again, I'm fascinated. So 27 years, you've been donating your time, effort, obviously energy to this organization. Do you have some high points, things that really stuck out, had big impacts to you, and maybe even some low points?
Well, like I said, the high points, like I said, is having gotten to go to so many places and work with so many. During that time, we've now provided nearly 590 classes on those 101 trips, because we never go somewhere and just teach one topic when we go. We try to do that. So, like I said, we've gotten to meet so many people. I've gotten to work. We have trainers all over the United States as well as in Mexico, and working on some other developing instructors out of other countries. So, getting to watch that come to fruition and start, like I said, like a tree, starting to produce and now expand out. One of the, I guess, low points for me, one of the only things that sometimes is frustrating. For instance, we did a large donation in January this year, where we sent down a massive truck full of gear. We sent down a ton of AEDs again, a bunch of air packs, the most important piece of equipment a firefighter has for their safety. A lot of firefighter helmets, jackets, pants, all the protective equipment, a lot of extrication gear. We sent down, numerous sets of jaws of life and things like that. And so as we're delivering equipment to 6 people, everybody sees the posts, we receive another 900 requests for equipment. So like I said, sometimes you feel like you're trying to plug a hole in the dike as they're springing up everywhere. And sometimes, but like I said, we're just trying to have the most impact we have with what we're given.
Well, I think it sounds like to me you're having a huge impact. And the fact that you're training trainers, so you're leaving behind a residual of people that can train after the training. So you had 590 different class topics and that times the number of people that were in those classes, right? So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's been thousands, I guess, right, of
I-
firefighters that you've trained.
Yeah, I believe that we have registered in our classes over the years 23,000 students.
23,000 is incredible. Well, so down here in Cabo, I understand there's another exciting Bomberos Latinos event going on, or you're working with the fire department, and that is the fireboat. And you, as you're well aware, we work hand in hand with the Bisbee Foundation and their charitable activities, of course. And it's my understanding that Wayne Bisbee made that possible for the fire department. So tell us a little bit more about that boat.
Yeah, this is really going to be game changing. This is going to be the first specifically designed fireboat in the history of the country of Mexico, which is huge. It's going to be able to do fire suppression and respond to medical emergencies in and around the marina and the harbor. So it's really exciting. That was all done, as you said, by Wayne Bisbee as a very generous donation. One of the AEDs that we donated is targeted specifically to be on that boat. So if they need to respond and help somebody on the water, they have that life-saving tool as well.
That's outstanding. I love that. So, we've talked in depth about all the charitable contributions, especially focused on this community that the Bisbee family makes, and this is just another really, really good one.
Yep, absolutely.
Super cool. Joe, if you can tell us what you think that the Boaters List community can do to continue to support your organization.
Well, this last donation that you facilitated and provided for us, like I said, literally is in, I think, 14 different communities now, providing them with AEDs. Like I said, we're always very grateful for any donation that we get. And you can always rest assured we're happy to provide accountability for every penny that comes in, because none of it's going anywhere but to the exact targeted missions. So yeah, anything we can get, like I said, for instance, we have requests right now for trainings in 4 different countries and 5 different locations throughout Mexico. And like I said, it's difficult to be able to do them all because it costs, we find people who are willing to donate their time, but for instance, the tickets to get
Right,
there and back,
everything's driven by money, right?
yeah,
So,
that's what our limiting factor is. So
so
anything we get, we're very grateful for, and like I said, always happy to provide accountability, because 100% goes directly to the mission.
So it sounds like we need to spread the word for you, and I probably need to call the Jill Adams Foundation and let them know how far that money went, and round up some more donations from people that I know in San Antonio and other foundations.
Yep,
Right.
we're always very grateful.
Well, we started this conversation talking about the unique way that you and I connected. And so maybe we could wrap up the conversation with that. And that's your wife, Melissa. I understand that she's your partner in crime, so to speak. I guess it's a crime, your partner in doing good deeds. But tell us a little bit about her role and her activity with the organization.
I can honestly say that I would never have accomplished what Bomberos Latinos was able to accomplish without her. Because there's so many, everybody sees when the donations are arriving and being delivered, and everybody sees the training happening. What they don't see is all the work that went into making that happen. For instance, the most recent donation that we made down here to Cabo, and now we're going to be doing throughout Latin America, the donation was made up in the Northwest, so it was 1,500 miles each direction of driving with a truck and trailer to go up and get those donations. Once we get there, we're talking loading all that equipment by hand. Everybody always looks at my wife, they're like, wow, your wife can outwork any of us, because she was a college D1 athlete. Trust me, she knows hard work, but she's been beside me lockstep the entire way.
And you work her like a pack mule.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I am fascinated with your organization. I want to share that excitement with the motorless community. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to meet with us today. Thank you.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Martin. Thank you.